All right, future CPAs, we made it to the final day of our 5-day challenge to passing the CPA exam. So we went all the way from planning all the way up until exam day. But today's training, it's about what happens the moment you walk out of the Prometric Center for your next exam. How do you maintain your momentum without losing steam, getting discouraged, or risking giving up? So today's training, incredibly important for this one reason. So the period between walking out of your next exam and score release is dangerous. So you need to follow these steps to maintain momentum. And so really to tie all this together, we do need to do a quick recap of day 1 through 4. We'll also be covering 3 steps to ensuring that you pass no matter what. Then we're going to learn how to spice up your studying so that you don't burn out. And then I'm also going to be extending a special invitation for you to join me on a free CPA exam coaching session that I'll be hosting. So really hope that you can make it. All right, so maintaining momentum. So how do you maintain momentum after you sit for your next exam? All you care about is finding your score. And if you haven't sat for a section yet, I guarantee that's all you're going to be able to think about. But the problem, and here's the thing, you might have to wait days, maybe even weeks to find out the results. And you've put so much time and energy into crafting the perfect study routine. So should you just sit on your hands and relax until score release day, or is there something else that you should be doing? To really answer this question, we do need to recap the last 4 challenge days. It's going to help us give perspective on what to do after we sit for an exam. So let's start with that. So if you haven't caught up on the other challenge videos, you can find links to them below this video. But just to really quickly recap day number 1, it's all about planning. So we determined that your mental mindset, that's the key to passing and the first thing that you need to address if you haven't done so already. Next, we learned how to schedule a brand new section, also prep for how to schedule a retake just in case. Then finally, we worked through the 9-month CPA exam pass plan for you, and we've got hard dates on the calendar. And again, that pro tip, very key here, was to only sign up for 1 or 2 sections at a time so that you can remain flexible just in case. And in day 2, we learned how to take your perfect passing plan and then create the space in your busy schedule that you need to do in order to hit your study milestones. And this exercise is called a life audit. And so really this is the key to making the CPA exam a priority and making the right sacrifices temporarily so that you can hit our goal ultimately of fitting in 20 hours of study time per week. And yes, even if you are working full time, this is something that you can do. Okay, and in day 3, we learned how to grasp what you learn and understand what you study and then retain it for weeks on end. And it really tied together with days 1 and 2 because once you've crafted the perfect plan for your CPA exam journey and made the space in your schedule to follow it, then you need to learn how to study and use that time efficiently. And so we learned that study loops, they're the key to defeating that dreaded curve of forgetting. And ultimately, the only way to do this is to implement study loops. And that is to learn new material and then consistently review everything you've learned up to that point. Then highlight the areas that you don't understand to review those later. And then repeat that whole process over and over until you complete the learning phase. And then finally, we created a custom study loop plan for your next section and then showed you how Kessler CPA Review ultimately automates this process for you. Now, day 4, we covered study funnels. So we learned how to tie everything that we've learned together just in time to pass by basically funneling out everything that we've identified that we grasp and understand, and then focus all of our remaining efforts on just those areas that are weakest. So we learned that adaptive learning technology is going to be key in speeding up and automating this process. Then we learned that you also need to manually check yourself. So we recommend using our easy to expert question filtering inside of Kessler CPA Review and filter our custom made questions to basically tailor them to your needs. And that way you can easily dig into the weakest areas that you identify. And then we recommend that you complete the study funnel planner, which is a 10 to 14 day process where you can plan out each and every single day on what activities you're going to be completing. So extremely crucial to follow these exact steps, which brings us right to the moment you walk out of the Prometric Center, which is all very crucial to your success. Now, if you stuck with me through this challenge, then you know my story already, and that my entire career, heck, my life changed as a result of passing the CPA exam and all those struggles that I went through. But it was only because I took the time, like you are right now, to learn how every step in the passing process works and not just blindly following a generic study planner that you'll get from one of the big box CPA review courses. And trust me, if I can figure all of this out, so can you, which is why today's training is so crucial because maintaining momentum the moment you leave the Prometric Center and restarting this whole process to begin with your next section, it's going to be essential for your success. And yes, before you ask, I've taught the exact steps that I followed to pass the CPA exam to thousands of people around the world, and they've gotten the same results. So check out Julio. He was one of my mentees, and he recently passed. And I quote, he said, "Thank you, Brian. Your method is truly the way." So again, it's not about me. It's about the personalized study system and having someone to teach you the method to follow to get results. And so, what does this proven method that I teach say about maintaining momentum the moment you leave a Prometric Center? So, here are the 3 steps to maintaining momentum after you sit for an exam. So, step number 1, you got to forget about it, right? So, the moment you finish your next section, you need to realize that what happens next is out of your control. So, don't let the worry of your results steal your focus. So, obviously, you need to take a mental break for a day or two and reset, but then immediately jump into planning and executing on your next section. So again, go back to day number 1 and day number 2, and that's exactly where you need to go. And I can't stress this enough. The longer you wait to move forward, the harder your earned good study habits will be to restart. So you've worked really hard to build these good study habits. Take a few days off, reset, be smart, and then restart up those study habits as soon as possible for your next exam. Okay, so step number 2, score release day. So this is a big moment, right? So hopefully by this point, you have already are well on your way to studying for your next section. But score release day is going to throw a wrench in things either way. So if you fail, I highly recommend that you immediately schedule a retake, put studying on pause for the current section that you're studying for, and focus on your retake. And again, go back to day number 1 of the challenge to revisit that process of mentally preparing and planning. But if you pass your previous section, then you got to double down on your intensity. So you know what you are doing works because you just passed a section. So don't start taking shortcuts or getting lazy. This is the time to double down on your intensity and keep moving forward. So then step number 3 is to start figuring out ways to spice things up. So just like any relationship, it's good to switch things up every once in a while, if you know what I mean. So if you get tired of the same old practice quizzes, you really should try to gamify the study process. Start creating flashcards and just figuring out little ways to make the studying process a little bit more entertaining. So what is the solution here? Well, Kessler CPA Review, we do have a game center to help you with just that. So we have a few different CPA study games that you can play. Personally, Sudden Death is my personal favorite. So basically it's a practice quiz with a twist. So basically you're given an infinite stream of questions and you're trying to get as many questions correct as possible in a row. And then that way you can have a winning streak and just earn as many points as possible. And then if you get a question incorrect, then that ends the game. And then you'll see what your personal best is in terms of getting questions correct. So it's a really fun way to study, totally different than just a boring timed practice quiz. And it's a good way to compete with yourself and others in the community to see how many questions in a row you can get correct. So it's also important to track your weaknesses in real time. So Kessler CPA Review does this for you at the AI CPA blueprint level. So the more you study, the more accurate your results. And if your big box course feels tedious, Kessler CPA Review can get you re-engaged quickly with our advanced analytics and entertaining question explanations and Learn and Go lectures. And speaking of Learn and Go lectures, if you are struggling with grasping what you study, you're going to love our gems of the questions and our Learn and Go lectures. So they not only teach you why the question is right or wrong, but also what to look out for with similar questions in the future. And we have hundreds of these questions with enhanced explanations. And this is especially effective if you're somebody who has failed recently. So when you dig deep into our study materials and follow my study system, it's not uncommon to see incredible results like what Bryce just shared in our private study group here. So he went from failing 7 sections in a row to passing FAR with the 79s, which is an absolute game changer for him for confidence. So finally, a huge reason that our students see a huge boost to their scores and maintain their momentum is that, again, they follow our step-by-step mentorship program, Ultimate CPA Exam Guide. And if you've enjoyed our challenge, then you're going to love Ultimate CPA Exam Guide, or UCEG as the cool kids call it, which includes much more in-depth help, and it helps you avoid making dozens of rookie mistakes that cost me personally months of wasted study time and thousands of dollars on my journey to passing the CPA exam. So if you're interested in learning more, I do want to invite you to join my next CPA exam coaching session. And I really want to dive into everything that we've covered during the challenge. And I am giving away a crazy bribe for joining us live on the call. So I'm giving away 221 of my best study tips in a PDF that you can print out and keep in front of you. I'm giving away 120 practice questions and 200 CPA flashcards for attending. So if you've enjoyed the 5-day challenge, then you're going to love how I tie everything together for you during this coaching session. And there is also an option to ask questions during the call as well. So I really want no question left unanswered, especially if you're on the fence about starting the CPA exam process. I really want to make sure that and make it very clear on how effective the CPA can be at changing your career. So it's totally free to register. Just use the same email that you used to join the challenge, and you'll be all set up and ready to go and attend the free coaching session. Okay, so what's next? The 5-day challenge is over. So what are your next steps? Now it's time to execute on all of this. So consuming content is great, but it's a waste of time if you don't take action and actually implement it. So I've given you a proven plan to follow, and all that's left is to dig in and succeed no matter what happens. Now, inevitably, what happens when I host challenges like this is that I'll get a million emails saying, "But Brian, I want you to help me through this entire journey." And good news, I'm putting together something very special for you. So just keep an eye on your inbox. Or if you want a sneak peek and to get early access, sign up for the free coaching session and we can explore working together to pass the CPA exam. So again, watch your inbox for my big announcement tomorrow. And don't forget to grab a free CPA exam coaching session below this video. All right, guys, thanks so much for attending the 5-day challenge to pass the CPA exam. I hope it was helpful and that you are now well on your way with a solid plan of attack for passing the CPA exam. So remember, keep up your intensity, maintain your momentum, and never give up. Thanks for watching. This is Brian Kessler. I'll see you on the free coaching session.